Hello, America. The Jihad from Within, the Torch exclusive live tonight at 8 p.m. We're getting ready, but this all fits into the picture of what is happening in the world with Iran. And I want to present a theory that, quite honestly, if you're not an adult, you probably should turn the station because I believe I have a much more likely scenario than any of the others that you're hearing, that we were duped into it, etc., etc. And it fits with the way we are behaving, and it fits with the way Israel is behaving. But it's a big boy pant kind of theory, and I want to present it to you. I think it fits all of the facts. And I also think it's going to be simpletons will use it to say, see, Israel's a bad guy here. Simpletons will do that. But I trust that you are not a simpleton, and you will listen to this and understand, because it's going to require you to think differently. It's going to require you to not think like a Western thinker or Western scholar or somebody from our former State Department. It's going to require you to think like you live in the Middle East for part of it. I'm going to give this theory to you here in just a second. First, let me tell you about our sponsor. It's Rapid Radios. When everything is running smoothly, communication is really easy. You text somebody, they text back. You make a quick call, you get an answer. Whether it's, getting your team to where they need to be, or figuring out who's bringing the hot dogs and s'mores on a camping trip, it all just works. But when a signal drops, towers are overloaded, or you're out of range, simple plans turn into confusion fast. Messages just don't get through, and people are left guessing. Now scale that up: a storm, a blackout, a real emergency, when you actually need to reach somebody. In any of these situations, Rapid Radios can help. You press a button and you're connected, clear, instantly, over long distances, coast to coast. And when you start thinking about preparedness, that kind of dependable communication isn't just helpful, it's essential. So right now, Rapid Radios offering $300 in free gear with your order, including a tactical radio bag, USB charger, and EMP Faraday bag. Plus, your order will include a 30-day money-back guarantee. So go to Rapid Radios, use the code RADIO for 5% off and free shipping. That's rapidradios.com. Rapidradios.com. Promo code is RADIOS. Rapid Radios, communication redefined. Okay, I'm going to get into some of the things that happened, but did you see how Donald Trump yesterday came out and he tweeted, "Stop it, Israel." Bad Israel, stop. Israel is being reckless right now. The oil refineries that they were hitting, the oil structure that they're hitting, that's not helpful, Israel. We said that last week. Why are they doing that? As I was thinking this through yesterday, it occurred to me, and I went and I did some homework. Has this ever happened in history before? And yes, it has. And so I want to present a theory, because the story being told to you right now is really neat. It's really simple. It has a villain and a victim, a manipulator and a man who is supposedly led. It says one leader whispered into the other, lies. And the other leader was duped into it. Oh my gosh, I've got to follow. History almost never works that way. Nations don't drift into wars of this scale because somebody whispered a lie alone. Most times, if not almost all times, it's because pressure has been building, sometimes for years, sometimes for generations, until the moment arrives when someone decides the cost of waiting is greater than the cost of acting. And to understand this, you have to begin where the pressure is the greatest. Where is the pressure greatest in the world when it comes to Iran? Some will say, well, it's Iran because they're being bombed. No, Israel. Israel looks at Iran differently than the West does. The West Iran is a policy problem. Israel sees Iran as a deadline. I wrote a chalkboard today and just divvied it up into three: Iran, Israel, and the U.S. We're big Satan, but who do they promise to kill first? Little Satan, right? Little Satan. That's Israel. We're big Satan. They have said over and over, the Israelis, the Jews, will burn in the fires of the Islamic fury. And as they're saying that, they're building nukes. They have 400 to 600 kilograms. That's about 1,000 pounds of enriched uranium. And they're 12ers. You'll really understand this if you've been following it all on the program. This is what the Iranians believe. The Iranian regime has spent decades funding proxies, building capability, repeatedly, openly, consistently saying and acting in the way that follow their words that Israel will cease to exist, that the Jews will die. Now, that can be rhetoric to us here on this side of the planet. But if you're an Israeli and you've got a state just, a California distance away, and that state is the size of 2 Texas, you look at things differently. History has taught them something that Americans have just the luxury of debating. When someone tells you repeatedly they intend to destroy you and kill you, eventually you have to decide whether to believe them or not. So inside Israel, this is not a conversation about strategy. When do we go in? Well, I don't know. Is it going to cost us more for gasoline? That's not. This is a question of survival for the Israelis in their mind. So when a nation believes its survival is at stake, especially a nation that was built so the Jew can survive, it doesn't wait for global consensus. It acts. And it's happened before. 1981, Israel struck Iraq's nuclear reactor without permission. 2007, it destroyed Syria's quietly, decisively, because in their doctrine, if a threat is existential, delay is the most dangerous choice of all. So now, I want you to imagine this mindset, and it's really hard. You have to imagine, to get in this mindset, imagine that Mexico had been bombing us over and over again, had killed thousands of Americans, and they were across the border saying all the time, we're going to kill every one of you. And then they're building nuclear weapons. And your intelligence, forget about anybody else, your intelligence says they're building missiles and they have 1,000 pounds of enriched uranium, which will be enough missiles to wipe us off the face of the earth 1,000 times over. And they keep saying they're going to do it. And because you're living here and the Mexicans have been bombing, they have invaded, and they've killed thousands of us while saying this. It's different. So Benjamin Netanyahu, let's say he comes to the White House, which he did, sits across from the American president, and the intelligence is laid out. And the clock, real or perceived, is ticking. And he makes it clear. We're going in with or without you because we believe this intelligence. We're going in. And Mr. President, we're going to take care of this once and for all. We can't do it the way you can. But, Mr. President, if we wait and they get a nuke, what's your reaction? Your reaction will be, I'm not firing a nuke. We have to lay off them now. I will not be the first to nuke. But we believe that they will nuke us first. So if they're close to a nuke and we can't finish it, we will nuke them. It is in our best interest. My job is to protect the Israeli people and Israel. And they are not some sort of a math problem like they are in the rest of the world. They're a real threat to us. This is not theater. This has happened before. So now the decision shifts. Not whether Israel will act, but will Israel is the United States going to have any influence over how that action unfolds? Because the president has spent all of this time trying to tie the Middle East together. He was going to go in at some point. He had said it, I'm going in. But you have an ally now that is saying, we know you're going to go in, but the job has to be finished. And if you don't do it, that's okay. We're fine. We'll do it. But we're going to pulverize them. We will destroy their ability. And the president knows that will put the entire Middle East into chaos. Because we just learned from Iraq and Afghanistan. Please let us do it our way. Mr. President, we will go in with you. We have the same goal here. But this is where the story changes. And it's not being duped. Because we were going to do it anyway. But things change. We've seen this moment before. 1956, during the Suez crisis, Israel, Britain, France moved to seize the canal. They believed they were acting rationally, even that they had to do it. Eisenhower saw something else. He saw a chain reaction that could pull the Soviet Union and fracture the world. So America stepped in. Not against its enemies, but against our own allies of France, and forced them to stop. Everybody's like, why are we getting involved in that? To force them to stop so we could control the situation. 1973, Yom Kippur War. United States rushed to support Israel when it was on the brink. But Israel, it began to win decisively. Washington grew concerned that victory might trigger something larger. So Henry Kissinger worked to slow the momentum and to contain, not defeat, but contain success. 1962, Cuban Missile Crisis. Greatest pressure was not just between the two nations, but within one. The military here in the United States urging immediate strikes. Hit them hard, hit them now. John F. Kennedy chose something else. He chose the path that restrained his own side as much as it confronted the Soviets, because he understood how quickly action could become annihilation. So the pattern is here. This is the way we do things. When allies feel existential danger, they move quickly, and they're willing to go further than anyone else is comfortable with because they believe they are the target. We don't believe that. Every president has said that they believe that, but nobody has had the stones to do anything. Why? Because you don't believe that. The American people don't see this as an actual threat. When a superpower sees the broader system, the dominoes, the alliances, the escalation ladder, it moves to control the scope of that action, and sometimes from the outside, but sometimes from within. So consider this possibility, just a theory. The United States didn't enter this conflict because it was misled. It's because we face the choice of two wars. One, it could influence that we were going to do anyway, and one, it could not. If America stands aside, Israel acts alone. And when a nation believes its survival, its very survival is on the line, it doesn't calibrate for global stability. It calibrates for certainty. Wipe it out. That means what? Wider targets, deeper strikes, faster escalation, fewer constraints, oil fields on fire. What happened just last week? They hit oil fields. We were being led by the nose by Benjamin Netanyahu. That makes no sense. If we were duped into the war and we're fighting Israel's war, why then would President Trump say, stop it, stop hitting the oil fields? They have different goals than we do. We came in, and quite honestly, again, imagine we've been hit by Mexico and NATO decided to step in and said, okay, we'll help you solve this problem because it's a problem for us too, because Mexico and the cartels are coming for us next. So we'll do it. But Europe wouldn't see that as a threat to Europe. Germans would be like, it's America. Who cares? We're not involved in that. Why would we get involved? Just like we do. They say the same thing. And if we saw that Europe was starting to fold and Europe was like starting to say, we don't want anything to do with this war. Why are we in this war? We got to get out of this war. And we saw that maybe NATO was starting to weaken and they were not going to finish the job. What the hell do you think we would do? We would do exactly what Israel is doing. We would burn Mexico to the ground if we had to, if we believed that they were going to burn us to the ground. This is not simple. War is not simple. Killing people is horrible, and it's not simple. Solving things where people want to wipe a whole group of people off the face of the earth has happened over and over and over again. And why is it we just expect to have a simple little answer? Let me give you one other piece on this. Let me break first. 60 seconds. You are made for something. Maybe you've known it for years. Maybe it's something you're still trying to figure out. But there is a sense deep down that you're not just here to pass the time. You're here to do something, build something, to show people, and help people in a way that matters. Sometimes there's a gap between what you know you should be doing and what you're actually able to do. And for a lot of people, that gap has a name, and it is pain. Relief Factor was created to help reduce inflammation in the body because that's where pain usually starts, and most of our disease as well. And if you address it at the source, you're not just masking the symptoms, you're giving your body a chance to function the way it was meant to. And over 1 million people have tried Relief Factor. 2/3 of them have gone on to take more. And if you've been listening to me talk about taking Relief Factor for a while, maybe this is your moment. Or if you're already taking it, right now you're getting an advanced formula designed to work even better with your body, smarter. Try the 3-week quick start. It's $19.95 at relieffactor.com. Relieffactor.com, 3-week quick start. Call 1-800-4-RELIEF. Relieffactor.com. 10-second station ID. So there's a couple of things. There's a couple of things on this. If you get involved, you can shape the targets, you can sequence the operations, you can set the boundaries, you can slow the tempo, and you can also say, this far, no further. Okay, and from the outside, it can look confusing, it can look contradictory, and I think this is where it's at. And this is also something that you cannot talk about as a justification for war. You cannot talk about this. You can't say this. All of this is about control, and it's about preventing a chain reaction that can't stop. Speaking of chain reactions, what is the one thing I've told you over and over again Donald Trump is most frightened of? The only thing that I know that he is truly terrified of: nuclear war. He believes one missile is launched, one from anyone. Once that missile is launched, it's World War III and total nuclear destruction. He believes, and he can make a good case, and so is Annie Jacobson, made a very good case in her book on nuclear war. Once you launch one, every single scenario, every war game we've ever played ends in total annihilation. One doesn't end with one. He knows that Israel's intelligence and our intelligence now show that they have 1,000 pounds of enriched uranium, and their missile systems that were being built would have them able to have hundreds of missiles. Okay, if you believe that to be true, and you believe also what the Israelis and I believe Donald Trump believes about the mullahs, they are 12ers. They will use those missiles. And if they launch one, everything on Earth dies. You want an existential threat to the United States and to the entire world? It's that. You give missiles to 12ers. If they launch, the entire world dies. Donald Trump, I believe, would act. He would act restrained, not not the way Israel is reacting, because Israel doesn't have this mathematical, well, if they get the missile, they're killing them now. They know, they believe, they've seen it firsthand. So they're acting, wipe it all out. Donald Trump is trying to make sure that we kill that regime without setting the entire Middle East on fire. And we're all sitting here arguing. I believe ridiculous, infantile arguments. I mean, you have to be an adult and look at how everybody is viewing the situation on all sides to understand it. All right, let me go to our sponsor and then more. I would like to hear your comments on this as well. You accidentally take a wrong turn on a road trip and your wife never lets you forget it. 20 years go by and she's still reminding you of that time that you were supposed to turn left, and you didn't. Bad news, the IRS is worse than that. Make one mistake and they don't let it go. One wrong turn and it gets more and more expensive. That's where Rush Tax Resolution comes in. They know the rules. They know the process. They know how to advocate for you when things go really wrong and sideways. You have a notice sitting on your counter that maybe you've been avoiding. This is the moment to do something about it. The longer you wait, the more expensive that wrong term becomes. And when you mention my name, Rush will provide a free IRS transcript investigation, a service that other firms will charge about $500, even without confirming if they can help you or not. Rush offers this upfront and free, and they will only take their case if they know they can help you. So get a Rush tax attorney now. Protect yourself. 554-RUSH. That's 877-554-RUSH. RushTaxResolution.com. 877-554-RUSH.
The Islamization of the West has a blueprint, and tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, Glenn shows it to you. It's our first live torch special. Don't miss it. Go to stoptheconquest.com to see it.
Welcome back to the Torch Insider Show. If you're not watching on glennbeck.com/torch, you really need to. This is one of the reasons why I love this segment so much and the added value to the radio show, because I am looking at all of your comments and I am seeing how you're reacting to what Glenn just said, his explanation for what's going on, and especially addressing some of the confusion, because there's very on one side very hardcore views on one side, very hardcore views on the other. Not too much perspective in the middle, and especially not much explanation to try and bring everything into context. That is what Glenn is trying to do. And I got to tell you, when I first heard this monologue this morning, when I came in before our meeting, I had to have Glenn explain to me a couple of different times. It wasn't until like after the second time and then really talking it through that it finally clicked. And I was like, this really needs to be said. This really needs to get out there. And I'm looking how you're responding. And most of you seem like you're getting what Glenn is talking about. Michelle in the Mountains just commented that this monologue needs to be cut up and put on X. Critical to get out there. And I 100% agree with you, Michelle in the Mountains. But there are a few people that are not, I think, are not quite getting it or have some pushback, which is perfectly fine. Stay Strong had a few comments that were some pushback. And I actually gave Stay Strong, I gave your comments directly into Rockstar Ricky so that she can give it to Glenn so he can address. So we really, really want this to be clear, and we really wanted to get it nailed down, because I think it can really help the entire situation where we're trying to decipher just everything that's going on and decipher some of these different opinions and voices that some seem very radical, some seem in both directions. So that is the entire point for this, and that's why I love it so much. I want to say, let me, because time is very, very short, I want to, again, say about our Islamization of the West special that's happening tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are watching on a different platform, please go and subscribe right now. You're not going to want to miss this. Go subscribe, glennbeck.com/torch, become an insider, get one-on-one access. We're going to get this through. You're going to get this throughout the entire show. You do not want to miss out. I don't want you to miss out, because there is a lot going on. And today, we are at war, basically, with a Islamic regime that basically, they're jihadists that took over a country in 1979. They were ISIS before ISIS even showed up. Instead of trying to just establish a caliphate, conquer territory, they just stole a country and basically did the same thing. They've been doing this since the early 80s. This has been the reality. But we have been witnessing something in our own country that has been much more quiet. There's been a quiet, gradual, basically like progressivism. It's like progressivism is the plan, the blueprint that Islamists set out for the Western world and the United States very, very specifically. And at some point after, it kind of started during the Bush administration, and we'll show you some wild documents that I don't think have ever been seen. We hired a big gun for the special tonight, and he brought the receipts. He brought actual documents that show some stuff that I cannot believe was swept under the rug. We have some stuff from the Bush administration, stuff that was swept under the rug. We have stuff from the Obama administration that will make your head explode. You're going to need duct tape. It's wild. I want to read you something, but Rockstar Ricky just popped over my shoulder, and she is here. Is her mic up?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Matt, are you getting levels?
Yes,
Hi,
Ricky.
guys. Sorry, my hair's flat because of the headphones, but it's so good to be next to Jason and to smell the East Texas all over him. No, I saw a few of your questions about tonight's special. You will get to see, if you miss it live tonight because you have to work, because you have to spend time with family, because you have to doom scroll X, that's fine. It will be on demand, available in full, the whole thing, even the Q&A special where Glenn and Jason and Ryan Morrow are going to take your questions. That will all be available. I can't tell you exactly when because it's going to be a long special, so it might take a little bit of time to get to the website. We're going to get up as soon as we possibly can. One thing I want to say is that we want you to, as soon as the special starts, if you have questions about the special and you hear something or you want clarification, drop it in the live chat. So drop your question in the live chat. We have a team that is going to be tracking them and pulling them in. And so all throughout the special, good questions. Don't ask us about the Save America Act. We'll talk about that tomorrow on radio. Keep it specific to this special. Jason, Glenn, and Ryan Morrow will take your questions. And I love you. Bye.
You got it first from the rock star. It's going to be amazing, but have all of your questions for everything that we're going to be talking about. Write them down, put them in the live chat, just like you normally would on a radio show. We'll be taking those down, and we'll be highlighting them after Glenn gets done with his portion of it. It's going to be awesome. I've got how much time do I have? 40 seconds. So I'm going to save the tease that I was going to actually read you part of the special, because that's how that's the insider access that you get. I'm going to give you you know what? Actually, I'll probably wait till after the first hour to give you that tease. It's actually it's something that you have never seen before, and it's something that will really call out a major Islamic group in the United States, and they probably don't want that to get out, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. That's coming up after the first hour. But anyway, here's Glenn talking about what he was just talking about, answering your questions coming up.
This whole time, we've feared. We fought against Islamic terrorism. But the Islamist threat is even more terrifying than that. They're here. They've been here. They've waited. And faster than ever, they're making their moves. They're Islamists.
Islamists want the United States to resemble Islamic republics in the Middle East.
Our goal is to make America Islam. Real Islamic State.
They're among us. They're among our politicians, among our city leaders.
There's a template and a playbook that is in motion.
We're living here to shift this country's political direction. Engaging in dawah, and dawah is essential.
And most of the Western world isn't even aware of what's happening.
As a doctor, I don't just treat symptoms. Terrorism is a symptom. The disease, the cancer, is political Islam.
It's incompatible with everything that America and the Western world stands for.
Honor violence, honor killings, child marriage. We have this idea that, we can't judge other cultures.
And it's happening in more ways than you could imagine.
This is economic jihad.
So which side will win the ideological battle for the West? Tonight, StopTheConquest.com. I want you to go there and sign up and make sure you are watching. It is live tonight at 8 p.m. That's Eastern time, only on the Torch. It is an hour plus a half hour answering and taking questions from you, the viewers. You'll be able to write in during the show and say, hey, can you explain this? Can you show me the documents on this? Whatever it is. And myself and panel of experts will be there to be able to answer your questions on this. This is connected to everything that is going on. And that's the thing that I don't think people really understand. Iran is the head of the terror snake. It is the main destabilizer of the world. Now, there are others as well. Muslim Brotherhood, Qatar, the home of the Muslim Brotherhood, is also a grand destabilizer. But we have waited and waited and denied. Now, I want to go back to what I was saying here just a minute ago about, this theory that I gave you a minute ago on how you can look at this and see, okay, wait a minute. Let's look at people from all sides of the issue are saying. Because you can be wrong, but still have things that you're saying that are kind of right. You just have boxed them wrong, or you don't have the full information. We can all I can guarantee you that everything I say here is not all right. I can guarantee it. It's not right. Because I don't have the facts. What I do is I try to take what's happening and make sense of it. Stay Strong is a Torch insider, and they just wrote in on the Torch feed. Glenn, it's funny how you're taking Kent's logic and now flipping it to justify the war. Well, let me start here. Kent isn't using logic. That's part of the problem. He's making accusations. He can frame them in a logical way, but it is an accusation, okay? And he's in a position of presumed knowledge. That's why he has to bring proof. As I said, on day one, as soon as that letter, within 5 minutes of that letter coming out, I said, this is so irresponsible because he's not a podcaster. He was part of the administration. And you can leave and say, I believe this is happening. But you can't leave and say, this is what's happening without proof. And the other part of that sentence was, and now you're flipping to justify the war. I want you to understand, and I said this at the beginning, and I said this every day since this war began. I'm not justifying this war. I'm trying to take all of the information that we do have. This is why I say, please give me proof. Give me facts. I don't need opinion. I'm trying to form an opinion. I need facts. You're trying to form an opinion. You need facts. But I'm trying to take the facts and the action of people and try to make sense of them to help you. I never said, not once have I said this war is good. Not once have I said this war is bad. I've said this could potentially be very good. This potentially could be unbelievably bad. I don't know how this is going to turn out, nor does anyone else. What I do know is this. We are now in it, and now we must fight and finish it. There's no way out. You cannot just walk away from this now, because you will teach the bad guys America folds every single time. People don't have a... Do you think terror will get better or worse? We can argue about should we have gone in or whatever. We can argue that after we finish this. We must be united on finishing this. So I'm not trying to justify the war. Then Stay Strong said, yesterday you asked for proof and why he changed. Yeah, because he would have been in the position to know, and he's claiming that our president was duped. And I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. Now, that's my belief. Maybe he was, but I don't see any indication anyone dupes or leads President Trump by the nose. I do believe that his actions, when he has come out several times and said, why are you setting the oil fields on fire? But he came out yesterday, stop it, Israel, stop it. That's not somebody being duped. That's not somebody being led by the nose. That's somebody who is trying to control and contain this. For 47 years, we denied, and now look at it. Look at what we're dealing with now. I've told you on day one, I can't tell you, when I said this could be really, really bad, what I mean by that is, and I know this is going to sound, hyperbolic, but it's true, I believe. This could be the war to end all wars. And I don't mean that in like a World War I, we're going to learn our lesson. I mean, Jesus might come back from this war. This might be the final battle, the beginnings of the final battle. We are dealing with evil. That's my belief. Doesn't have to be yours. So when I say it might work out to be really bad, it might work out to be nuclear annihilation. It could go into a global war. It could spiral out of control that Jesus has to come and settle this thing. So that, in my book, is kind of bad. Kind of bad. How did we get here? We waited 47 years. And we denied, and we kicked the can. How did we get to the point to where we're almost at economic collapse? We've known this my whole life. FDR said, you can't do these things with these social programs or you will collapse the budget of the United States of America and we will be broke. FDR, the guy who started it, said that. Nobody listened because you wanted it. We all wanted it. We wanted all these things. We wanted it to be true, but it wasn't, and we knew that. I remember Ronald Reagan saying, we've got to deal with this deficit now, or we're going to come to a place where there are no good options on the table. Well, we're there. Why are we here? Because we didn't face the truth, because we didn't want to do the hard thing at the time. The same thing with Iran. We didn't want to do the hard thing. Every president said it. People couldn't stomach it. The same thing now with what you're going to see in the special. We don't have 47 years on this. We'll be lucky to have 5. Hear me. We will be lucky to have 5 before this is here and in position to turn us into the Middle East. I don't think being at war is good for the economy. I don't think being at war is going to help us economically. It's going to help us with gas. It's going to help us with anything. It's not going to help our national defense. We are already stretched very thin. We need to be building, not using. We wasted so much in Ukraine. That's not even settled. I don't think any of this is good. But it's where we find ourselves. Maybe it is my alcoholism that speaks. Because I spent my whole life, I shouldn't say this, I spent half my life until I was 30, and maybe I kind of conquered it a little bit. By the time I was 40, my God, I was a whiner. Everything that happened to me, it happened to me. Oh, my life would have been so much better if this hadn't have happened, and that wouldn't have happened, and this wouldn't have happened, and that wouldn't have happened. All these things happened to me. Oh, shut up, you whiner, shut up. My father almost said that to me, but he was a better man than I would be. If my son would say those things to me, I'd be like, shut up. You have no idea. My father just said to me, make a list of all the bad things that have happened to you. You're right, Glenn. You are so right. Make a list. And I made a list. And then by the time I got to like number 3 or 4 or 5, I realized, wait a minute, but if that didn't happen, then I wouldn't have had this, and I wouldn't have been here, and I wouldn't have had this happen. And what my father taught me by doing that little exercise was, shut up. It's not what happens to you. It's what you do with it. So my point to you is we can make sense of all of this without it being a grand conspiracy. But the one thing we cannot do is whine about it, because that doesn't solve anything. You know what that does? That divides us even more. We're already divided. Are you not tired of being divided? I am so tired of having these arguments. I am so tired being told I have to hate Megyn Kelly, or I have to hate Tucker Carlson, or I have to hate Ben Shapiro. I don't hate any of them. I disagree, but I don't hate them. I'm so tired of that. That doesn't solve anything. You will not solve the world's problem with more hatred, more division. We have to try to understand one another, even when we're wrong. Understand one another and work to find ways to stay together. Do you not understand the entire Western civilization is at stake? And we are like, yeah, I know, but I was in line at McDonald's and somebody cut in front of me. Who the F cares? That's your problem? Yeah, but we were duped into this war. Yep, maybe we were, maybe we weren't. I don't believe we were. But if we were, what do you do about it? What do you do about it? Well, I'm going to make sure I'm there at the next election, and I'm going to do everything I can for the next election. The next election? The next election. Okay, let's play this out. If we've been duped, if this is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing in 2 years, what do you think the world's going to be like in 2 years? And if you're concentrating on dividing because of the next election, because I got to get my politician in, what do you think we're going to be like in a society in 2 years? Think it through, please. Think it through. What do we do about this? We talk about principles. We look at what is on the field. What do we have to clean up now? What do we have to do to be a stronger, more perfect union? And quite honestly, none of the crap I'm hearing on podcasts. And you know what? If I'm a problem, fine. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. I have no problem, believe me, I have no problem going home and never coming in again. I do not want to be a problem. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to beg you, please wake up to the gravity of our situation, to the time in which we live. Blessed be the peacemakers. Sponsor is Real Estate Agents. When you sell your home, you're not just selling a place to live. You're asking somebody to walk through that front door and imagine their life there, their kids in your backyard, the holidays in your living room, the routines, their memories, their future. How that story gets told, it matters more than you think, because the wrong agent doesn't tell a story at all. They list it, they price it, and then they wait. Maybe they give you a few offers, maybe they don't. Either way, it just feels like they're just hoping for the best. But the right agent knows how to position that home for the buyer so they see it and they feel it. And that's the difference between the real estate agents that you'll find at realestateagentsitrust.com. They're the ones that will bring these things to reality. We don't just connect you with an agent. We connect you with somebody who has a proven track record, who knows your market, who knows how to get results. Check out realestateagentsitrust.com. I don't charge you for this service. It's a recommendation service, and we have checked these people out 6 ways to Sunday. The name says it all. realestateagentsitrust.com.
Your feed's full of noise. Your town's full of folks who'd help you move a fridge. Don't lose touch. Glenn Beck will be back after this.
Welcome back to the Torch Insider Show. Wow, that commentary from Glenn is one of the reasons why I will work here for the rest of my life or until I screw up and Glenn gets rid of me. But why I will never leave on my own account. That is why I was a fan of his before I worked here, and while I will be loyal to the day I die. That's pretty much what it was. Carrie commented, disagree versus hate is something a lot of people need to understand. What has happened to this country where we can disagree with each other, but we don't have to hate each other. We don't have to sling mud. There's comments from the insiders, that I don't agree with, but I still love the debate. I still love that we have our own opinions and that we're both truth-seeking and we can come to the truth together. And we won't agree all the time. But when did we start hating each other over disagreements? One of the best monologues that I've heard from Glenn in a while. Not much else to say on that. There's nothing I can add to it. But thank you, Glenn, for saying that all. I have a huge segment coming up at the top of the hour. I've got a George AI, and it's funny when I work up George AI, how I explain certain things and put it into modern context. And so the title that George AI gave for this specific one was the debate on immigration and election integrity. What do you think that one's about? I was like, how do I describe what the Senate is doing right now with the SAVE Act? So that's George AI today. It's really good. You know, what's another thing that's hilarious is it seems like every other day there's some lefty, ridiculous outlet that's commenting about George AI. Like they're getting fanatical about it. And there's always this expert. And they'll claim to be George Washington experts. And they're like, well, actually, this is what I believe about it. George AI doesn't care about your stupid opinion that you got from Columbia University. I can't wait to show when this thing goes completely live and you get to see all the sources. George AI's opinion is just based on what the founders actually said, what they wrote about, the books that they did. It has nothing to do about your random, NYU degree on George Washington. It's just kind of ridiculous. But anyway, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. And anyway, the George AI today is going to be really good. And I'm going to give that to you probably next hour, maybe at the top of this next one. But I have some things that I want to tease to you towards our Islam special that's coming out tonight at 8. There were some questions specifically on the special. Oldest fart. I thought I was the oldest fart. Oldest fart. Love the name. I've got the GB app on my TV. Is the Torch accessible on the app? I want to cast it to my TV. Yes, it is. The Glenn Beck app is the app that you want. That's where you can see all the Torch content on your TV, which you can do on Roku now, which is awesome. Texas, Alaska, Puerto Rican. Awesome name again. Will the special be on the app? Yes, it will. It's the Glenn Beck app, so that's what you can use. So there's a lot of people wondering about the Stop the Conquest webpage that we're promoting towards. That's just a promotion landing page. So that's if you're not subscribed, but you really want to watch the special, it's an easy way to subscribe. So you go to Stop the Conquest, you click on that website, and then there'll be a link there so you can subscribe. It'll take you to glennbeck.com/torch to subscribe, but the special will be on where you're at right now. This is how you'll watch it on glennbeck.com. Anyway, back to Glenn right now.
One of the reasons I built the Torch is because I wanted to go deep in depth and do deep dives on really important things. Our first subject that we chose to do, we've done 4 months of research, and it is on the blueprint of the destruction of the West. And it is a plan that is here, alive, and you will not be able to unsee it. After you watch tonight at 8 p.m., it is on the Torch. If you're not a member and you can't remember glennbeck.com/torch, you can just go to Stop the Conquest. That'll take you to it, but it's only on the Torch. Eventually, an edited version, and I can explain that later because of YouTube, an edited version will probably be on YouTube, but the only place to see it today, sign up right now. Go to glennbeck.com/torch. Sign up. We will see you live tonight at 8 p.m., 90-minute special.
Welcome back to the Torch Insider Show. I have a lot of comments from you, some specific about questions about the special tonight. I'm going to have a little sneak peek of the special, not like anything video. I'm just going to read you parts of it because we've heard a lot about certain groups, Islamist groups, like, are they really? Like, is there some, I don't know, is there some miscommunication? Are they not really all that bad? Whatever. We've heard about allegations before. We've heard about court cases, but rarely have we seen the actual court cases and the justifications. You've heard presidential administrations. Maybe Barack Obama. Maybe he talked about some of these. Maybe he made it lighter and tried to make them sound not bad. Well, what did the investigators, the people at the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the FBI, the people that were not supposed to be political about it, what did they think about some of these groups? What did they reveal? I'm going to show you that after the top of the hour. So if you are not subscribed, you really need to be subscribed. Get way more of this information. Not only that within the Insider Show, but you're not going to lose access to the entire Insider Show for all 3 hours, but you're also going to get access to the special. So if it's super simple, you have about 3 more minutes for me talking to you about this. Go to stoptheconquest.com. Go there. It'll show you how to subscribe, sign up, and then be ready at 8 Eastern tonight to watch it. It's going to be amazing. You're also going to have one-on-one access. So after the show, as Rockstar Ricky was talking about, you can ask us questions directly from the set. Myself, Glenn, and the researcher Ryan Morin that we hired for the show, he dug up some receipts on this that just, I was reading this stuff and I was like, how are we at the point today when all this information was just right there laid out for them? How? How was it ever a question? Well, is it possible that the infiltration was that bad that they couldn't do anything if their hands were tied? Possible. I don't want to give too much away. Papa Dark said the group that I was talking about, he goes, is CARE the group? I don't know, Papa Dark. We'll find out in about 2 minutes where I'm gonna show you some of that. I'm gonna sticking on what Glenn's chalkboard and everything he was talking about. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about Joe Kent, but this was last night from sources about what was going on with Joe Kent right up until months before, but leading up to when he resigned and sent that now infamous letter. A little bit of context on what was happening to him behind the scenes. Watch this.
Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterrorist Center, this is from Semaphore, he just resigned. He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. And the investigation predates his departure. Congressman, your reaction to that tonight? Wow.
Well, there's a lot there, and I think that we need to let this investigation play out, but we shouldn't tolerate any leakers in the administration, particularly regarding classified national security interests and information. So we'll let this play out and see where it goes. But if he was leaking, he ought to be held accountable just like anybody else would be.
Now,
So in that context, he was under investigation for months. He did not have access. He had been kicked out of classified briefings, very specifically about Iran, but I think it sounded like pretty much all the classified briefings. He had no knowledge. Before his knowledge, back in the day, his worldview was exactly opposite of what he put in his resignation letter. Well, he was under investigation. He resigns.